Wow, what a game. Ireland versus South Africa. The Game of Thrones game. And it was a game that would decide who would sit on the Iron Throne. The Iron Throne of World Rugby. And I think Ireland really proved that they're the champions at the moment. If the World Cup was played tomorrow, I wouldn't bet against them. But yeah, the World Cup is not being played tomorrow, and Ireland got a great win. And it was a ferocious match from the first whistle. The intensity was next level. There were a couple of mistakes by both teams in the first half, and they got a couple of penalties. And I thought after that the intensity must lower at some point, but never did. And that's testament to the fitness levels of both teams. And I think actually Ireland got the edge in terms of fitness. I think they were able to maintain a level of intensity much deeper into the game than South Africa were. South Africa did come back in the last 20, but I think that's more of a indicative of Ireland switching off in terms of that they thought they'd won the match. But yeah, great game. Really spectacle to watch. The crowd was going absolutely berserk, and I really enjoyed that part of it as well. Hearing the crowd, I don't know whether they turned them up or something like that, but they really seemed to get into the game and really get behind the Irish team. And I think that paid dividends on the field. You can never know how much a home crowd influences a team's play. But for Ireland in this game, they really did manage to keep the intensity levels up longer into the game than South Africa did. So yeah, no tries in the first half, and I think the turning point of the game was when Gibson Park came on for Murray. I like Murray, and you got to respect the man. He's 100 Test caps for Ireland, but in terms of quickness and decision making. From the scrum half position, Gibson Park is miles ahead of him now, and has to be. He is obviously the first choice when they go to the World Cup, and he just transformed the game really when he came on. And Ireland got two quick tries, 10 to 14 points. I think they missed the conversion of one of them. So and Ireland were well in the lead. South Africa, who had been pretty much in it for the majority of the match, they fought back, and they got pretty close in the end. But ultimately it was Ireland's day, and great performances. I really like Ringrose's performance. I really like the Porter, the props performance. They're like bowling balls. You just roll them forward, and they tend to make yards, head down. They don't give the ball away. Very good ball retention, and I really like those two players, Porter and Ringrose. I thought they did a fantastic job for Ireland to clean up loose ball that was mainly flung out by Johnny Sexton. I don't know if he was trying to prove something, but it was a bit erratic, his play today. And I think going into the World Cup, they're not going to be looking for him to do that, unless it was a game plan. If it was a game plan to weigh down the South Africans, test their fitness, and I think some of the players obviously weren't fit. I think then fair play, but in terms of managing the game and tactics, I think they missed a step there, Ireland. And they could have kind of accumulated more points, particularly in the first half. Even though they were under the gun, they did get opportunities to clear their lines and put pressure on the South Africans, but they never really did. They put themselves under more pressure by playing the ball deep in their own half. So I'm not sure whether that's going to be a tactic that Ireland stick with. I doubt it, but yeah, it was a physical battle all day, and that's what rugby players, and I think the crowd loves to see. And Ireland just about came out on top. The tackles were intense in the first 20 minutes. In the first 10 minutes, I think Ireland made like 40 to 50 tackles. South Africa really threw everything at them, and they resisted it. And that is like heroic performance, particularly from the first whistle. South Africa notoriously slow starters, but Ireland, when South Africa did start well, and they were putting some phases together and really attacking the Irish lines, they really held up, and the centre who came on instead of the injured centres, Bandiaki and Henderson, not Henderson, but you know what I mean. He did a really good job, got a couple of like turnover and a half, and yeah, he did well until he went off. And that's one of the things I think Ireland would be really happy with, is their strength and depth. They had to replace quite a few key players throughout the game, and they did so, and they performed well. The players that came on performed really well. Gibson Park I don't count as one of those, but like in the front row, the guy did okay. He got popped out of the scrum once, but that's expected against the bomb squad. So yeah, Ireland would be very happy with that. I think that they've actually got players to replace players who are on their last legs, kind of thing. So World Cup is going to be really interesting for Ireland, because they're gonna have to play at some point these second string players, and yeah, a close game, but Ireland thoroughly deserved the win, I think, just from the manner in which they defended. We know defence is a huge part of the game these days, and I think Ireland epitomised what it means to defend well. It doesn't mean just make your tackles, it make them aggressively. A couple of debutants on the wing for Ireland. I thought both of them did really well. Very exciting players, and I look forward to seeing more from them in the future. So Ireland got a couple of not easy games, but easier games in the autumn internationals, and South Africa are going to have to prove themselves. Going to have to pick themselves up and go and prove that they are the world champions. So yeah, fantastic, really enjoyable game, just from the physical intensity side of it, and yeah, I really enjoyed the game. So yeah, thank you very much, and goodbye.